Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I am Nick from Australia. Welcome to the Melbourne Storm Team of the Decade from 2010 to 2020. Hope you guys are all doing well on this Monday afternoon. It is currently 6:15 PM. If you haven't checked out my St. George Illawarra Dragons Team of the Decade video, make sure you go and check it out. It is now up on the channel. It was uploaded about an hour and a half ago. So go and check out the Dragons Team of the Decade video if you haven't already. And also tonight around 7:30 will be the Corner Post, episode number 42. So I hope you guys are looking forward to the Corner Post tonight. But before the Corner Post, we're going to get into the Melbourne Storm Team of the Decade from 2010 to 2020, the second video of this afternoon. So without further ado, let's get straight into the Melbourne Storm Team of the Decade, and we'll go through the team list now. And the coach: fullback Billy Slater. On the wings, Suliasi Vunivalu and Josh Addo-Carr. In the centres, Will Chambers and Justin O'Neill. In the halves, Cameron Munster and the great Cooper Cronk. The front row, Jesse Bromwich and Nelson Asofa-Solomona. The hooker is the captain and one of the best of all time in Cameron Smith. The back row of Kenny Bromwich and Ryan Hoffman. The lock is Dale Finucane. And on the interchange bench, it is Tim Glasby, Felice Kafusi, Jordan McLean, and Kevin Proctor. The coach of the decade is Craig Bellamy. Well, he's the only coach of the decade for the Melbourne Storm. He's been the head coach since 2003 of the Melbourne Storm, and there's no one else that has been the coach of Melbourne. So Craig Bellamy is pretty much a no-brainer here. So, you know, we've all seen what Craig Bellamy's done, and he's probably one of the best coaches to ever coach in rugby league. So say what you will about Bellamy, whether you like him, you hate him, if you think he's the best, if you think he's a cheat, whatever you think of Craig Bellamy, he's definitely one of the best coaches that I've ever seen. So Craig Bellamy, the coach of the Melbourne Storm of the decade and probably all time, to be honest. So let's go through the team. So obviously Billy Slater's the fullback. That's a no-brainer. I think Billy Slater is going to be a future immortal, one of the best fullbacks that we've ever seen, probably the best fullback that I've ever seen, in my opinion. Now, like, obviously, I was born in 1999, so I wasn't around in the 90s and 80s, like the early times, to see all the great fullbacks, but Billy Slater's the best that I've ever seen a fullback, and I think he's the best fullback that Melbourne's seen, which is a no-brainer. So Billy Slater is the fullback. There is no doubt about that. The wingers, Suliasi Vunivalu and Josh Addo-Carr. Now, Addo-Carr and Vunivalu as a wing pair were absolutely fantastic. I know Vunivalu just left Melbourne and he's gone to rugby union. Whether you like Vunivalu or you hate him, he was a bit of a grub. He did some things that a lot of people didn't like, but you can't deny his talent. He was a great try scorer. He was good in the air when the balls would go up, bomb across field. You can't deny his talent, and he was a really good player, Vunivalu. So he makes the right wing for Melbourne. And the other winger is the Fox, Josh Addo-Carr, arguably the best winger in the NRL at the moment, and I believe he is, and I think he deserves to be in this team as well. I mean, if you're the best winger in the NRL, you know, you're definitely going to be in the team of the decade. So Addo-Carr and Vunivalu are the wingers, and I think that is a no-brainer. The centres, Will Chambers and Justin O'Neill. Now, Will Chambers, again, has been at he was at Melbourne Storm for a very long time. He played his whole career at Melbourne. Obviously, he's now playing, I think he went to French rugby or something. I'm not sure where he went, but he's not playing rugby league anymore, which is a shame, even though Will Chambers was the sort of bloke that he will get under your skin. He'll make you want to swear your head off at him, but, you know, he was a really good player, man. He played plenty of Origins for Queensland, played a few games for Australia. He was a consistent centre. Definitely bend the rules a little bit, but you can't deny that he wasn't a great player. Will Chambers was a fantastic centre, so he is a no-brainer for the Melbourne Storm Team of the Decade. The other centre, Justin O'Neill, a little bit of a tough one to pick with this other spot because they had other guys like, you know, you had Cora Beatty, who I could have easily thrown in here somewhere, Chase Blair, Dane Nielsen. There was plenty of guys, Curtis Scott, but I feel like I've gone with Justin O'Neill because, you know, he won a grand final on the wing for Melbourne in 2012, and he played centre for a while and did a really good job. So I think Justin O'Neill had a pretty good career at Melbourne. So I got Justin O'Neill in the centres with Will Chambers there. In the halves, Cameron Munster and Cooper Cronk. Now, Cameron Munster is still at the Melbourne Storm. He's been playing for Melbourne since 2014, maybe. I can't remember what year he made his debut for Melbourne, but he's been a great player for the Melbourne Storm, Cameron Munster. And having a look at all the other 5'8s over the years, the likes of Blake Green, Brett Finch, Gareth Widdop, I think Cameron Munster has done a better job than all three of them. So I think, Cameron Munster, I think he deserves to be the 5'8 here for Melbourne's team of the decade. So I got Munster at 6. At 7, it's a no-brainer. Cooper Cronk, the best halfback to ever play for the Melbourne Storm. Probably one of the best halfbacks to ever play rugby league in general. Now, whether you like Cronk or you hate him, he's been successful. He won a grand final in 2012 with Melbourne. He won a grand final with Melbourne in 2017. Then he left to go to the Roosters and won 2 grand finals there in 2018 and 19. 4 grand finals for Cooper Cronk, one of the greatest halfbacks of all time. 4 premierships to his name. The best halfback Melbourne have ever had, and what a player he was. The front row, Jesse Bromwich and Nelson Asofa-Solomona. Say what you will about the Melbourne Storm forward pack. They are ruthless and they are aggressive and they are fantastic as well. So Jesse Bromwich is one of the best Melbourne Storm front rowers to ever play for that club. He just does a great job. He's just a great bloke, great leader. He plays very well, Jesse Bromwich. He's a very good front row, and I think he is a no-brainer in this team of the decade. Along with the big man himself, he could honestly be an NBA player. Nelson Asofa-Solomona, he's a giant of a man. He's a beast. Now, whether you put him in your starting side here or you put him on the bench, you're going to have him in there somewhere. Nelson Asofa-Solomona, he is impact. He is meter hungry. He will do all the good things right for you. He's a beast of a player. And I think Nelson deserves to be in this team somewhere. So I've got him starting prop with Jesse Bromwich. The hooker, I don't really need to go over this for too long, but one of the best players of all time, Cameron Smith, the best hooker that's probably played rugby league and probably one of the best hookers that Melbourne have had, or without a doubt. But Cameron Smith, one of the goats of the game, one of the best of all time. The big three, Slater, Cronk, Smith, they're the first 3 picked in this team. So it's a no-brainer for Cameron Smith. He's the best hooker of all time and probably the best that we've ever seen. So Smith at hooker is a no-brainer. The back row of Kenny Bromwich and Ryan Hoffman. Now, Kenny Bromwich is still playing for the Melbourne Storm. He is the brother of Jesse Bromwich, who I've got at front row. Now, Kenny Bromwich, a very underrated back row in my opinion. Always does a really good job for Melbourne. Isn't as rated as high as the other back rowers in the game, but I think Kenny Bromwich does a really good job for the Melbourne Storm on that left side. He is underrated. He does a great job, and I think he deserves to be in this team of the decade. Along with the other back rower, Ryan Hoffman. Now, Ryan Hoffman always did a good job for Melbourne. He always played on the right side of the field, playing with Cooper Cronk. They had a really good combination, and I thought Ryan Hoffman complemented Cooper Cronk and really well, and whoever he's playing with, Ryan Hoffman, but he was a very good player, so he makes the back row. The lock is Dale Finucane. Now, Dale Finucane was a very solid player. He still is. Still plays for the Melbourne Storm to this day. And having a look at all the Melbourne locks over the decade, I think Dale Finucane deserves to be the lock for Melbourne Storm here. He's been fantastic. He's an origin player. He's consistent. He does a job. He is underrated in my opinion, and he's a very hard worker, Dale Finucane. So he is the lock for Melbourne. Now, the bench. I've got all forwards here because I think all these 4 forwards deserve to be here. First one I got is Tim Glasby. Now, Tim Glasby retired, I think, because of an injury that he wasn't able to come back from or something like that. But obviously, his run at the Melbourne Storm was absolutely fantastic. He played a couple of games for Queensland. He always did a good job. Whether you play Glasby at front row or you play him at lock, it doesn't really matter because he always did a good job in that position, Tim Glasby. And I thought he was the ultimate competitor and he always did well, Tim Glasby, so he deserves to make the team somewhere. He played for Melbourne for about 7 years out of this decade, so I think he deserves to be here. Along with the other 2 forwards I got as well, Felice Kaufusi and Jordan McLean. Now, Felice Kaufusi still plays for the Melbourne Storm. He's been at Melbourne for a very long time. I think 2013 or 14 he started at Melbourne, and he's still playing there to this day. He's a Queensland back rower, even though I don't think he deserved to play for Queensland last year. But anyway, that's another thing for another time. He's a good player, Kaufusi. He does a job. He's a very aggressive player. He definitely bends the rules a little bit, and I think Kaufusi deserves to be in this team somewhere. Along with the other front rower, Jordan McLean. Now, he's now at the Cowboys, my team. as a, I think he's a vice captain or something at the moment. Now, he probably, arguably hasn't been the same since he left the Melbourne Storm, but when he was there, he won a grand final in 2017, which was against the Cowboys. And Jordan McLean's at Melbourne, he was a very good player, whether he started or come off the bench. He was very good for Melbourne, and I think he deserves to be in this team of the decade somewhere as well. And the last player I got on the list is Kevin Proctor. He is now playing for the Gold Coast Titans. One way to ruin your career. But anyway, he's the captain of the Gold Coast at the moment, but he was definitely better at Melbourne Storm, no doubt about it. Whether he played left side or right side, didn't really matter. He would always run a good line. He would always worry the defensive line. He would always get defenders nervous on either side. You know, if he was running at the 5'8", he'd get the back rower nervous. He'd get the half on the inside nervous. And then the centre and the wingers wouldn't know whether to come in or not. Proctor was when he was at Melbourne, he was that real strike back rower. And I thought he was fantastic at Melbourne. So Kevin Proctor makes the bench. But anyway, guys, that's my Melbourne Storm Team of the Decade video from 2010 to 2020. Let me know your Melbourne Storm Team of the Decade in the comment section below. But anyway, guys, that's my Melbourne Storm Team of the Decade. I'm getting out of here, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you guys go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you do. There is a link in the description below. Go follow me on Instagram. And also, if you want to donate to the channel, feel free to do so. There is a link in the description below via PayPal. It's your choice if you want to donate to the channel or not. Personally, I don't care, but if you donate, I really do appreciate it. But anyway, guys, I'm getting out of here. I'll see you guys in about an hour or so for the Corner Post, episode number 42. Alright, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys then.